This is your prime time forecast for East Alabama, West Georgia, Dr. Don's weather. Dr. Don's weather is made possible by the Randolph County Commission, East Alabama Waste, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House and Diesel Repair. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery, Southern Union State Community College, and the 55 Farms. Here's Dr. Don.
And happy Sunday to you, East Alabama and West Georgia. It is time now for your primetime forecast for Sunday, October 6, 2024, from Dr. Don's Weather. Thank you, Southern Union State Community College in Wadley, Opelika, and Valley, Alabama, for being a partner with us here on Dr. Don's Weather and making all of this possible for all of you folks across East Alabama and West Georgia. Get your ducks in a row with Dukas at 256-831-7770. There's a link at the top of the video, and Jamie can save you money in most cases and increase your insurance coverage for Alabama and Georgia. You owe it to yourself to at least talk to Jamie Dukas and see what he can do for you with your insurance needs across Alabama and Georgia. Let's talk about some weather. No severe weather expected today across Alabama or Georgia. The tranquil, mild weather continues for East Alabama and West Georgia. It'll be a partly cloudy Sunday, maybe a little breezy tomorrow as we kind of get sandwiched in between two different frontal zones, but we will stay dry. And then we're watching the Gulf of Mexico for the potential of a major hurricane. Hurricane Milton will be the name of this storm if it does develop. And let's talk about some possibilities here. This is the latest from the National Hurricane Center showing that potential track of Milton. We believe that Milton will move across the south central Gulf of Mexico, and then by about 1 a.m. Wednesday morning be a major hurricane just off the Florida west coast. And at the moment, you folks down there in the Clearwater, Tampa, St. Petersburg area, you need to really be paying attention to the potential effects from this storm. Now, all of the western side of the state of Florida and the eastern side of the Florida Peninsula need to be on heightened alert for the effects from this potential major hurricane. We're talking about from the Big Bend area all the way down to Key West over on the western side, and from Jacksonville to Miami over on the eastern side. Now, there will probably be some strength fluctuations in this storm as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico. This is going to be a relatively small cyclone. Now, small cyclones can ramp up very quickly. They can move in a forward motion very quickly. They can also weaken very quickly. So we could see some fluctuation in the strength as the storm moves across the Gulf of Mexico. And as it approaches Tampa, there is a possibility it could get wrapped up in some drier air just offshore, and we're hoping that that may weaken the storm some before it makes landfall. But you folks who are familiar with the Tampa, St. Petersburg area, you understand the bay there, and you understand what storm surge can do in the Tampa Bay area. So this is a very serious situation that needs to be followed very closely. And if you live in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area, you need to follow your local emergency management guidance on this storm as it approaches your local area as we get toward Wednesday, Thursday of this upcoming week. And folks, listen, if they suggest that you evacuate, please evacuate. Don't take any chances with this. We just went through this last week. And we saw what the storm surge did down there around Perry and Point South. And then we saw what the rains did up in North Carolina. We saw what the wind did across southern and southeastern Georgia up into Albany. We saw the damage across South Carolina. These storms are nothing to play with. If you're in the path of this storm and your local government tells you to evacuate, please listen to them and do so. One other thing I want to point out here is do not pay attention to the exact track of this storm or the center of circulation of this storm. It's going to affect the entire southern Florida or the Florida Peninsula from north to south. Maybe even some effects down in southern Georgia and southeastern Georgia, where they're still reeling, trying to recover from Helene last week. I wouldn't expect hurricane conditions up there in southern Georgia, but just to say, it could be breezy. There could be some rain showers in southern Georgia. The white cone that you see there that moves across the state of Florida, that is not necessarily the area where the effects are going to be felt. That is called the cone of uncertainty, meaning that black line, which is the forecast track, could be anywhere within that broad white hatched area across the state of Florida. So please make sure you understand what you're looking at, understand what the effects of this storm could be across the state of Florida, and get out of town if your local emergency management agency suggests that you do so. Good news for Alabama and most of Georgia. This is going to be a non-event. We won't feel any of the rains up here in East Alabama or West Georgia. Yeah, it could be a little breezy at times, but we're not expecting anything of any significance at all across Alabama, Georgia. We should not even see any rain from this storm as well as it makes landfall later this week. We're going to keep an eye on this, and we'll keep you updated here on Dr. Don's Weather. Current conditions at the venue at 5 Points Farms. We currently have 65 degrees, wind out of the northeast at 2, gusting to 4. Humidity is 97%. The barometric pressure at 30.10. 64-degree dew point. The high temperature yesterday was 80.3. We currently have fair skies. Sunrise this morning was at 6:40, and the sun sets this evening at 6:20 p.m. It's going to be a partly cloudy day to start, and then we go mostly sunny by this afternoon. It'll be a little bit warm, but overall mild temperatures. 81 in Roanoke, 82 in Lineville. We'll hit 81 up there in Ranburne. Dadeville tops out at 82, and LaGrange will hit 82 degrees this afternoon. Here's your 6-day forecast from the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. Mostly sunny for your Sunday with a high temperature of 81, down to 61 for your overnight low. Maybe a little fog to start the day on Monday as we head back to work, but then sunny afterwards. 83 will be the high, and look at Tuesday, 80 for your high temperature. Temperatures will back off a little bit Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We may have some high-level clouds from the hurricane in the Gulf, but no precipitation. 78 on Wednesday, 76 on Thursday, and again on Friday. Long range, now this can change. Long range suggests nice weather for high school football next Friday night. Here's your Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar, and you can see we already have rain across the state of Florida at this hour. Kind of the same setup we went through with Helene last week, where we had a boundary front already in place that gave us several inches of rain before the hurricane even affected us. Well, we kind of got the same thing going on now down there in the state of Florida. We have a boundary front that stretches from about, Hilton Head down through southeast Georgia, and then back out into the Gulf just south of Mobile, and it stretches all the way back to Mexico. And that's what's going to help drive the direction of this storm. But the problem is it's already putting down some rain across the Florida Peninsula. That is not associated with Milton at this hour. Milton is still way back over here in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico as a active tropical storm, and Milton will continue to move off to the west, and then it will start interacting with another trough that will pull it back up to the northeast and then maybe northeast, making landfall somewhere around Tampa as we head toward late Wednesday into Thursday. Now let's take you in a little bit bit closer across East Alabama and West Georgia at this hour because we do have a few scattered showers across the region. We'll take you in a little bit closer, and you can see these are very light showers, basically along and south of the I-85 corridor from Columbus back over to Union City, and then maybe even into the Montgomery area and down there between Eufaula and Troy. As we come back up to the north, maybe a sprinkle in extreme northern Randolph and up there around the I-20 corridor. But again, most of that's probably a little light fog, and that will burn off as we head toward mid-morning, and we should enjoy a mostly sunny day across East Alabama and West Georgia. Again, folks, I know a lot of people are still helping with those who were affected by Hurricane Helene from North Carolina to Florida. Be extremely careful in that you make contact with a local government official or an official with a relief group that you know you can trust, and schedule your delivery of goods and service. Do not go into these areas without a contact and without a scheduled date and time of delivery. If you do, you run a good chance of getting turned around. Understand, people, the relief is always the second disaster in any type of disaster. You just stop and think about it. If every community within, let's just say, just 200 miles of Asheville, North Carolina, loads up a tractor-trailer load of goods and sends it up there unannounced, I mean, seriously, stop and look at that. That has to be managed. It's a great thing that we do this. I'm not suggesting that you don't. Absolutely continue with your services and goods to help with these folks who need our help desperately. But make sure you have a good local contact with a phone number and a name and a location where you're going to take your goods or go offer your services to be of assistance. Call ahead, have a plan so that it can be managed, so that we can get through what always turns out to be the second disaster, and that's the relief efforts after a major hurricane. And there is a chance we may have a second disaster about to unfold in the state of Florida. So it's going to be a rough couple of weeks here trying to recover from this, and it's going to be months or maybe even years before some areas get completely recovered, if they ever do completely. I mean, some places up in North Carolina will never be the same again, and South Georgia too. They got hit pretty hard. If you would like to support us, we need your support. We ask that you right now go to the top of the video, and you'll find multiple different ways that you can support Dr. Don's Weather, either by sending us a donation or going to our weather store. There's the link, clickable link at the top of the video, at the bottom of the video on YouTube, and you can pick up a coffee cup, a t-shirt, a baseball cap, and part of the proceeds come back to support us here at Dr. Don's Weather. If you own a business, if you're part of a civic organization, government or municipality, and you would like to be a partner with us, we would love to have you. Excuse me. And all you have to do is send me a message on Messenger or Discord, and I'll tell you how you can get set up, and we'll have you running by the time we do our next weather forecast, which, by the way, will be Tuesday morning. I have I'm going to be a guest on a radio station up here tomorrow morning at 7:30 Eastern times, which means it's 6:30 Alabama time. So getting your forecast out tomorrow morning is probably going to be a no-go, though I'll post on Facebook if there's anything you need to know. I'll see you back in here Tuesday morning with your next edition of your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather. Enjoy your Sunday.
This has been your prime time forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Southern Union State Community College, the venue of Five Farms and Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery. Dr. Don's Weather is supported by the Randolph County Commission, East Alabama Waste, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House, and Bama Diesel Repair. Be sure to like us on Facebook, share us with all of your friends, and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow morning with another edition of your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather.